Hello, welcome to Salvos Moneycare Money Essentials webinar. My name's Jono. I head up our You're the Boss program, and that's a program that helps people get in control of their money. And every day this week, Salvos, as part of Anti-Poverty Week, are putting on just a short presentation on different topics to help you master your money. Today, it's advertised that Karen is coming to share, and she got so excited she brought another Karen in as well. So we've actually got two Karens in today, both from South Australia, Karen Hicks and Karen Hiltz, financial counsellor and financial capability workers, and both of them share real passion about helping people understand their financial situation and put in systems in place in their lives to help them clear clutter and achieve financial goals. And that's what they're here to chat about today. I'm excited that they're able to join us, and they're going to be sharing very shortly. Before they do, though, just a couple of housekeeping things. If you've got questions about today's topic, we really encourage you to get involved by clicking. There's a little Q&A icon, little speech bubble icon up in the top corner, right corner of your screen. You just click onto that, type in your question and click send. And hopefully we'll get to the questions as we go and at the end. But if we don't get to your question, really encourage you to get in touch with us via email. We'll give you that address at the end of the webinar. So stick around for that. So just to also let you know that we're recording today's webinar. It will be available along with all the other webinars from this week in the coming days. So at the end of this, you'll get an email out with the link to sort of the key points from today, a little action plan to help you take those first steps to clear the clutter in your life, and then the recording to the webinar will be available from there. So that's all from me. I want to throw it over and welcome Karen and Karen to share with us. So over to you. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Karen Hicks and this is Karen Hills here with me. So today we're here to talk a bit about clearing the clutter. Thank you, Jono, for that lovely introduction. And everything we talk about today is actually something that both Karen and I work with clients on. We also go out in the community and teach this to community groups. And it's actually something that Karen and I both use on a daily basis in our personal lives as well. So with clearing the clutter, we've all got one of those, we get our mail and we might get some junk mail, the pizza menu, some Coles catalogues, Woolies catalogues, those type of things. It's in amongst our bills. So one thing that we need to look at on the next slide is what it actually looks like. The next slide, we've done this to sort of represent our kitchen bench maybe, or the office desk where you've picked up your mail and you've dropped it all down. So in amongst all of that, it can be really hard to find where our bills are and what are our bills, when are they due, because we've got all this other clutter. We've got all these catalogues and other things that sort of take away from the real important stuff. So many of us have all had a disconnection notice before for our electricity, and when you get that disconnection notice, is the first time you realise, oh my goodness, I haven't paid my bill. Where is that bill? And you try to find it. Same with like your late fees. Like getting charged a late fee is actually like you're giving more money to the organisation, which we don't want to be doing. Money's tight, so we want to keep all our dollars in our pocket. So when we're getting those late fees, if you added them all up, they actually really add up to a lot of money over a year. So what we're looking at today is how would it look if we had some systems in place to clear away all this clutter, and so that we could actually just see our bills. So that's what Karen and I will talk about today. We'll go between the two of us. So there's actually two ways of doing managing your money so setting up for success is what we call it. So there's two ways of doing it. Some people are very tech savvy and are really happy to work on an electronic system, whereas other people perhaps are not as tech savvy and would far prefer to still use the old-fashioned paper system. I use a bit of both, so I go between the two because you still have some bills that will come paper way, but majority of it I actually use electronically now. So setting up a system, it can be really daunting at first, like where do I start? And First thing you really need to do is actually make a plan and set aside some time, because it will take some time to start off with. So set aside a good probably 2 or 3 hours and just have a look at what you've got. Sort through all your paperwork. And all that paperwork that you've got, and you might be getting all that junk mail. We've all got a recycling bin, put it straight in the recycling bin if you don't need it. Most stuff catalogue wise now, and menus for restaurants, they're all online, so you can actually look them up if you need it. You don't actually need the paper catalogue. I don't actually have a mailbox, so I actually don't get any junk mail, so I'm very lucky like that. I actually only have a post office box where I live. But if you do have a letterbox and people come around and put the junk mail in there, just pop a no junk mail sign on there, because I'm sure probably 90% of the junk mail you get, you don't even actually look at. So, and if you are getting junk mail, perhaps pop it on your recycling bin on the way back to your front door to go inside. Now, if you are using an email system and you're getting all your bills via email, one good thing to do is actually just delete and unsubscribe from all those advertising ones that we get. We all go into shops and they all say, can we have your email address to sign you up for a rewards program? And you think, oh yeah, we'll do that. And then you regret it because you get a lot of emails from them. So unsubscribing for those and just deleting them. I know a lot that I get, they're actually not even worthwhile getting. I'm not getting any major discounts or anything. If you do still want to receive those type of emails, one good thing to do is actually open up like a Gmail account and use that as your advertising account, your rewards account, and just keep another email inbox that is just purely for your bills. So that's one way. I have a girlfriend that does it that way, and that works really well for her. So, and then once you've got a system established, it's about making time every week or every fortnight just to have a look over it. What bills are due? What do I need to pay? And those type of things. So it's like something you have to do every fortnight. You have to work on it. But once you've got the system in place, it honestly won't take much time every fortnight to do, or every week. I do mine sort of a couple of days before payday, and so I'm ready for when the pay comes in, and then the day after pay I'm ready to pay those bills and then file them away. So once you actually get in a system, it actually really flows along nicely. So when we've set up a system, this sort of thing, so we've deleted all our emails, our advertising emails, we're not getting the junk mail, and as you can see from this slide, if that was your pile of paper, you can actually see your bills really well. So yeah, so it's a really good way of getting rid of everything. That's just a bit of a visual to say we've got rid of all that clutter, and now we can actually see what we actually need to pay and what bills are due and sitting there.
Okay, so once we've worked out which system we prefer, whether it be electronic or paper, the most important thing to realise is that the systems are basically the same regardless of which one you prefer. Is you need three basic places: somewhere where we keep our bills as they come in and we sort them, somewhere where like a calendar where we mark our action dates or our due dates, and then somewhere to file them once they've been paid or actioned. Okay, so with this slide here is a good example of how your inbox would look with your different files that you would then file them into. Okay. If we move on to the next slide, what we'll see, okay, is this is a good example of an electronic system. You've received your bill via email into the inbox. You open it up, you have a look, see how much is owing. Is it a gas bill?
It's gas bill.
It's a gas bill.
It's gas bill.
Okay. All right. Then we mark it on the calendar, whether that's in your electronic calendar or you can still use the paper calendar if you've got one. Flag it for that day. That becomes your action day. Then on that day, you know that you need to pay it or either make a phone call, follow up, whatever you need to do. Then once that's done, you just pop it into the file and then that's all actioned.
And in the electronic system, when you flag an email, it actually will usually show up with a red flag, or it will, sometimes they will shade out that line so that you can see that it's flagged. So it's always sitting there in your inbox showing that it's got to be actioned. It will move down the system, but it has that visual to say something needs to be done with this email, which means we need to pay it on our action day.
Mm-hmm. You might want your action day to be the same day every week. It might be the night before payday. Some clients that I've got actually prefer to double check in every night, and then they just feel like that's their best way of managing to stay on top of things as they come in.
And the next way is the older-fashioned way, I suppose we would call it, that is the paper way. I think one good thing to remember that if you are still getting paper bills, just to have a look on your bill, because most organisations now are charging you to receive a paper bill, and we totally understand. We work with many clients that still want to receive paper bills because that's the way they do it. We just always like to make them aware that it is actually costing them some money to get that paper bill. But if that gives them some reassurance, just for what works with Karen and I might not work exactly for you, so you've got to make it work into your lifestyle. So this is a paper copy of how we would get it. So I've sort of put to the side there the junk mail. So we've received it and I've got it going straight into the recycling bin. So we, if possible, don't even bring it into the house, you know, pop it in the recycling bin, pop that no junk mail sign on and look it all up online. So this time we've received a water bill. This is an SA water bill. So we're in South Australia. And so what I've done is we've looked at when the due date is and we've popped it on the calendar. And we've bought one of those plastic document trays from Officeworks, somewhere like that. The other thing that works, if you buy a box of 5 reams of paper, you can just use the top lid of the paper. I've used one of those before in an office, they work well. But keeping everything in that tray that needs to be actioned. So nothing else goes in that tray by your bills, and you know, and when they're in that tray, you know they're on the calendar. If you don't have time when you receive it to put it on the calendar, perhaps just pop a paper clip on those bills, and then that will be a visual for you to go, oh, I know those ones aren't put on the calendar yet, so I know I have to action those. Now, when the date comes around, you know, you've just been paid, so it's action day. You go on and you pay it. Now, you may be paying it at your post office, you may pay it online, whichever way you do it. Just write the receipt number on, attach the receipt, you've paid it, you know it's done. And then once it's come out of that tray and paid, you actually file it in one of those expanding files. Now, the one that Karen talked you through before with all the headings, you know, utilities and school fees and all of that, those headings are still relevant for a paper copy as well, so a paper file system as well. And then you might find you have to add some, and you can change these over every financial year if you want, the paper files, or most of the time now we don't get as much stuff, so usually you can probably put a couple of years on there, and then you can just store it away with the years on it, and then you know those bills are there. Another good thing about, I suppose, to point out with keeping a system in place is having those bills filed after you've paid them is really important. I've had a situation where my electricity charged me a back fee for, I think I hadn't been charged for, I think, supply. And because I had a system in place and I had paid the bills and I'd filed them all, I was actually able to pull all those bills out and look back and actually confirm that I hadn't been charged before I made that payment. I didn't just take it, you know, that my energy company was saying, Karen, you owe us this much money because we haven't charged you. I was actually able to go back and look at all those bills. So that's really important, because we don't want to be paying money that we don't have to pay or we shouldn't be paying. We don't want to double pay things. So by having everything filed, whether it's in an inbox, under a heading or an expanding file, is actually really important. So, okay.
All right, now the one thing that we probably wouldn't store in our expander file or suspension file or in our inbox is our important documents. So we all know about birth certificates, marriage certificates, wills, passports, etc. But important documents are basically any document where it's either going to cost you money or time to have them replaced, or whether there's a risk of identity theft, etc. Okay, so it's really important to keep these in a separate place. It's safe, easy to access. People who are living in fire or flood prone areas, you might want to consider getting water and fire resistant document pouches to store them in. They can be large enough as well that you'll be able to keep your laptop or an external hard drive as well. Okay, whether you're using electronic or paper, the originals do need to be kept, because they will be, you'll be called upon to produce them from time to time. And if you are using an electronic system, just make sure that your external hard drive is backed up regularly as well.
Excellent. So I suppose that is how we work with clients to work all this out. There is another, there is a part of it, budgeting, to make sure that when your bills are coming in, that you've got that money available to pay them. This today is just about getting organised and getting rid of that clutter and making sure we've got some systems in place to manage our clutter and manage our bills. But there is another side of it, budgeting. But today, I suppose we're talking about it. The first thing is that when we work with clients is getting people organised. So we would always ask them, let's organise your paperwork and bills, because before we even start to create money plans and that, we actually need to know how much you're actually spending on things, which is actually really difficult if you don't know sort of where your bills are and where things are at. Would ask people to do today, if anything you take away from this today, is just to sit down and organise those bills. Start up a system, give it a go. Get rid of any of your unnecessary paper. Like, we've all got recycling. I'm sure the councils all around Australia have recycling systems, bins that they pick up, and just to start and set up a system. But I think what we find working with clients, and I know my own system at home has changed over time, and don't give up. If you start a system and you have a look back and you think, I'm going to try that, I'm going to set up an email system. And if in a couple of months you're going, this just isn't working for me, make a few little changes to it and just see how you go. Because it is something that changes regularly. Same with your budget. It's a living document, your budget, that changes regularly. So
work in progress.
Work in progress. Just keep it going, try different things. And financial capability workers, and like, I'm a financial counsellor, we're here to help those with people with that. So there's always in your handouts there'll be how to contact us and make appointments to see us, but we're always happy to help people start and set up a system, as well as to look at all that financial literacy, set budgets up, and really get you moving on the way to a really successful financial management in your household.
One thing that I just notice with my clients when they come in for budgeting support is just how daunted and overwhelmed they feel, and getting rid of the clutter is the first step to just alleviating some of that mental pressure. And it's a really easy first step to take, is to just get those documents, get all the bills, and just throw out everything you don't need. It's a really good active first step to take.
So thank you all. And if you've got any questions, fire away. We're more than happy to answer.
There's a question that's just come in, Karen, from Alice, and thanks for asking that, Alice. She just wanted to know your thoughts on using a financial service such as My Budget. If you're familiar with that sort of idea, like a budget.
Yep. They are a system, they are an organisation, well, a company that can assist with this, but I think that everybody, and it will cost you money to do that as well, but what we believe is that we've got the skills, and everybody has the skills within them to do this. It just takes a little while to get it moving, but we would just like to get out to the community. There's people there to help them. Like,
absolutely.
We're here from Moneycare, and we can help people do it, as there are many organisations, but there's Salvos around the place. We have financial counsellors and capability workers, and we are more than happy to work with people to get this set up. And I actually just helped a client transition away from My Budget. She was a client of theirs for about 7 years, and it took a couple of months, but we worked out and established a long-term money plan. And at the end of it, she was so grateful, because she was like, Karen, I can do this. And since then, she's now saving, I think, $45 a week, and managing all her own funds. And she's got a spreadsheet. She's going to give me a call in 3 months, and we'll probably do another money plan then and just check in and see how she's going. But just what we offer as financial capability workers is a free service, and we can build your money plan to suit you, to your lifestyle and your needs. Yes, we feel everybody's got the ability to do it.
Thanks, ladies. Thanks to both of you. So much wisdom in there, and thanks for taking that question at short notice, and for the question itself. And it's really great to see people engaging that way. So as we said, if you've got questions that you didn't want to ask today but have come up for you, please get in touch with us to do that. We're going to put the email address to get in touch with us. And there's also just a 2-minute feedback survey that we'd love everyone to complete. It's a great way of giving us tips on how we can improve for next time, and also to let us know how you went, the things that you learned, and really importantly, as Karen finished on, that call to action. Really, we'd love to see what little step you're ready and willing to put into place. So thank you so much to both Karen and Karen for doing that, for sharing that with us today. I really think there was a lot of great practical help, and I really think for those people out there who are thinking, how do I start? I think you've laid out some great actions to do just that. Now, Karen and Karen mentioned that budgeting is another great system to set up. If that's something you're interested in, we've actually got another webinar dedicated just to that. That's on tomorrow with Nina, 12 noon Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So if that's something that you think you're interested in, I really encourage you to get along to that. Otherwise, really thank you for your attendance today. Hope to see you later in the week to another one of our webinars, and all the best. So thanks.